Good day, Nightmare fans. Your host here, Diandra, and I have a very special guest in honor of Lisa Wilcox's birthday. I have Taylor Burskey with me, who you might recognize as the Alice Johnson cosplayer. She's also done Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but she's been pretty known in the Nightmare community as the Alice Johnson cosplayer. So how you doing, Tay? How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing?
I am doing awesome, and I'm super happy to have you on board for this first installment of an interview, rather more of a discussion on Elm Street Radio. And today we're going to be talking about Alice Johnson. So, Tay, tell me about your love for Alice. Like, when did it start? What really connected you with her?
It started when I was really young. I started watching A Nightmare on Elm Street when I was around 3 years old. So I first got into Nancy, and then a little later on down the road when I started really, understanding the people and what was actually going on and not just being scared of it, that's when I started understanding my love for Alice as well. So really, I was a pretty shy kid. I wasn't very outgoing as a child, and I related to Alice because she was the same way. So I even relate to her more now because she broke out of that shell, as everyone saw, and I did as well. So that's one of the many reasons I love Alice so much.
It kind of sounds like me when I started out. I mean, I liked Nancy, but Alice was my favorite in the very beginning, and then it kind of switched around shortly after that. But so that's awesome to hear. When did you decide to start cosplaying? And for those of you who don't know what cosplaying is, it's costume play. That is when you dress up as a character that you admire. So when did you start cosplaying as Alice, and what inspired you to start cosplaying as her?
I was 14 at the time, and I had come across your YouTube channel, actually, because I was trying to figure out, what this whole thing was. And then, I wanted to see if other people did Nancy and if other people did Alice. And I came across your YouTube channel, and I was like, oh, my gosh, I have to contact her. So I contacted you. And then that's how I got into it. So, you basically got me into it.
That's awesome. And why I know it's the iconic outfit. I know you did Alice's battle outfit from Nightmare 4. How hard was that to put together?
It was hard because at the beginning, my first time putting it together, I had used a white handkerchief for my hand wrap, and I put Sharpie on it, and I just drew out the whole thing, and I wore that for a year and a half until I actually had it custom made. So that was kind of difficult to do because I didn't have any idea what I was doing at the time. The jeans weren't so hard. I just watched. I had screen caps of every angle that she was in, and I was just able to make the splashes and find the jeans pretty well. I'm still working on the jacket to this day, and I've been doing it since I was 14. Yeah, I'm still working on the jacket. I want to get it the perfect one, but I've just been using a different brown leather jacket. It's not even real leather, but I want to get a good one. So I found a really good shirt to use. I'm still kind of working on that, but I'm pretty happy with this shirt because it looks pretty identical to the one in the movie. So, and I am getting a Bug Zapper made soon. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. What about her Debbie bracelet? I think you have one of those, right?
Yeah, I got one made for. Well, one was made for Lisa, and one was made for me by a man named Michael Steins, I think is how you pronounce his last name. And he looked at all the screen caps from the movie as well, I believe, and he made it all from there. And he's going to be doing more, I think. I think he's going to be doing more. So yeah.
Then you think people will be able to buy it and to wear their Alice bracelet too?
I hope so.
That's awesome. That is so cool. I didn't know you were working on the jacket. I thought that was because it looks so close to it.
Yeah, I try to get it as close as I possibly can, but, like, it bugs me if it's not spot on. I'm really OCD about things, so I'm like, I have to get it, like, super spot on.
I can relate to that. Are you going to be considering any other Alice outfits, like the diner outfit or anything from Nightmare 5?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing the diner outfit. I want to do the one from Nightmare 5 where she's in the black. It looks kind of silky, but I don't think it's silky. It's like a black and white tribal-looking shirt. And
I know what you're talking about.
And then,
yeah.
Yeah, and her Freddy face.
Oh, that's cool. That's a really brilliant cosplay. Don't anybody go out there and steal it, because that is really original. I had never even, when I figured you being in the different outfits, I'd never even pictured you adding that Freddy element, but that's a really cool extra little cherry on top of that costume. And I'm sure Lisa Wilcox will appreciate that. So what are your thoughts on Alice between Nightmare 4 and 5? Like, how did she change? Like, because when we look at a character like Nancy, when we look at her in Nightmare 1 and then Nightmare 3, it's so drastically different. So, but Alice in Nightmare 4 and 5, do you feel like she's relatively the same? How has she grown? Do you actually have a preference of the way Alice is in either movie? How do you feel about the Alice in both movies?
I don't think she's the same as she was. And I think it's because she knows exactly what she's dealing with and how to deal with it. And she knows how to get around things now. And she's not so shy anymore because she broke out of that shell. So I think that there's a huge change between 4 and 5 for Alice. She changed from the beginning to the end. You could just watch her transition, and that was the cool thing about Alice, is the whole transition, that you could just watch it all. And that was literally what it was about, was just like her transition and how, like, it was just inspiring. It's just inspiring to see. So no, I don't think she's the same at all from 4 and 5, or from 4. I think she's definitely more badass.
Yeah. Yeah. She definitely has that little bit more of a feisty bite to her. You can tell.
She's really feisty.
Yeah, she definitely is. Do you have a favorite Alice line?
Yeah, I have a couple. I love the one where she says, "I know exactly what you're up to." I don't know why. I just love when she points her finger in his face and she says that to him.
She calls him out.
Yeah, I love that.
And so you got to play Alice. You got to make an appearance as Alice in the fan film Don't Fall Asleep, which, of course, we were both a part of and we helped put together. How did that come about? Because your outfit, I don't know if anybody noticed, but the pink sweater that you're wearing in that scene is very much like what Alice was wearing in Nightmare 4. So tell me about, it's a bit of a short moment, but I believe, and I know I've heard this from many people, that you capture the character so well in that short amount of time. So how did that come about, you being a part of the movie, and what did you try to bring to that scene from what you know of Alice?
Well, originally you guys approached me with the part, and I was, of course, fully accepting of it because I wanted to. So, but my outfit was based on one of the scenes where she was. I don't know if you guys remember the karate scene, or Rick's karate scene where he's like punching the bag and stuff, and then she, a little after, I think, threw the salad bowl down. That's the pink sweater that I was wanting to get the capture. So that's like the shy version that I was trying to capture, because I was playing a young Alice, and I wanted to capture someone who's very shy. I think that she would have been even more shy, younger. So I was trying to like play someone very shy and kind of put off and like uncomfortable, I guess you could say. Not very uncomfortable, but maybe a little bit uncomfortable. That's the best I could do for her shy moments, not so much her badass moments, which I hope to do soon, because that is when I get to break out of my little element there.
Secrets.
Yep.
But so I got to witness you meeting Lisa Wilcox, and I've seen your relationship bud over the years, and it has been the most adorable thing, I believe, that I'd ever seen in my life, cuter than puppies. And you two are two of a kind. So tell me about tell everybody about your relationship with Lisa and how she's been supportive of you, and maybe some of your favorite moments with her that just have meant a lot to you. And do you feel that you guys have kind of hit it off? Because I remember, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Lisa said something about feeling connected to Alice. So if she's connected to Alice and you're connected to Alice, there would have to be some bond forged over that. So tell me about your relationship with Lisa Wilcox.
Yeah, there's definitely a bond, and we keep in contact. We keep in contact quite a bit through Facebook, and sometimes she'll call me. And the first time I ever met her, I was so nervous because I was wearing my costume, and I wanted her to like it. And this is whenever my costume was like just starting to get good. Like, I'm kind of glad that this was when she met me, because this was kind of when I was really starting to add more detail, and whenever everything was starting to get good. So I walked up to her table finally after I was petting a plant for 2 hours. I was standing in a corner petting a leaf, a big leaf. And I walked over to her table while everyone was following me over there with cameras, and a lot of people were crying. I think you were crying too. And
yeah, I was crying.
And she was like so happy to see me, and she knew who I was, which was nice. And she loved my outfit. She like unzipped my jacket, and she was like, "Look at your shirt," and she was like, "That's amazing." And she loved my Sharpie hand thing, because I hadn't gotten that custom made yet. So that was really nice. And now, like, I think I was 16 years old when I met her, and I'm almost 20 now. So now I've seen her at least every year since then, and it's just grown from that fan to friend type thing. And I just really appreciate her and everything, like all the support and all her kind words and all her advice. And she's just inspiration. Like, she's a huge inspiration to me.
That's so wonderful. Like, when you have somebody that you look up to and they end up being a really wonderful human being. And I can really say that I've seen Lisa interact with her fans, and she'll share little things, and it's so sweet, the things that she does to show her enthusiasm for Nightmare or for her fans. And I really just love watching you two together. It's like my favorite thing, but I felt like if I just stood there and watched the both of you, it would be creepy. So I've tried to limit that, but honestly, that would probably make me really happy if I could just see the two of you, because it's just like looking at two different ages of the same person. So I love looking at that. But so I don't want to keep you for too long, but I definitely want to close out with a question that's more of a discussion. People are always talking about how in modern horror there are not a lot of really great role models as far as final girls go. And Maybe I haven't seen enough modern horror. I can kind of agree with that to a certain extent because Alice felt real. She felt like the girl that you would know. She looked young. She went through this growth. She wore clothes that you would probably find back then in any sort of store. She was relatable, but she had this feistiness about her. And what do you think is so important about a character like Alice existing, more characters like Alice existing, ones that are relatable to people? And why do you think that matters to people in general and then into film?
Well, I think a lot of people struggle with looking up to people who are unrealistically, I don't know, they're just kind of unrealistic. And I say that because people, they'll look up to people like models, super skinny models, and they'll want to lose weight all the time, and they won't want to eat. And I dealt with that too. And I guess with horror, it's more like fighting your demons and doing it the right way. It's hard to explain, kind of, because I'm so used to the old horror because I hardly watch modern. I hardly watch modern horror because I'm so used to Alice and Nancy and all the good ones. However, one person who stuck out to me modern is Lynn Shaye's character in Insidious.
Agreed.
I find I really relate to her, and I think a lot of people can, all ages. And I think that that's important in modern horror because I think everyone should be able to relate to characters, all ages, no matter who you are, no matter your gender, your race, or anything. You should be able to relate to them and look up to them because it's an escape for some people. It was an escape for me, and I'm sure for you and plenty of people. So I think that that's important to give inspiration to people, young girls, young men, older women, older men, because they are probably dealing with things and they want to wonder, like, what would this person do? Or what would Nancy do? What would Alice do? Like, that I just think it's important for them to have these inspirations, for everyone to have these inspirations, because they are truly inspirations. Like,
yeah, I certainly agree with that because there are people out there who, like, I follow certain business leaders and they say, I don't have a role model, why should you? But sometimes, honestly, even the strongest people need a mentor and need someone to give them that little extra push. And sometimes, people really like to find people like them. And when you find a character like you, it's kind of a really feel-good moment that is almost, you can't really explain it, but you just feel connected to somebody that isn't exactly real, but can give you hope, and it kind of makes you feel like you're a part of that storyline. But when you're at a low point and you see them being at a high point, it gives you that inspiration. And I feel that you're absolutely right that that these characters can inspire anybody, no matter what their gender or race or age is. They can inspire people of other genders and race and age. It doesn't really matter. It's just that feeling of being able to relate to somebody and somebody who you can recognize in these movies. And I feel like that's part of what some horror movies are missing, is that reality. And that's one of the reasons I love Nightmare, because these characters are so real. And to see Alice, she's just this girl who's meek, and then she develops. I mean, what a character arc for her, right?
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Yeah. So before we go, Tay, it has been wonderful talking to you, as always. as always. And I'm really glad we got to celebrate Lisa Wilcox's birthday by having you on Elm Street Radio. And it is a pleasure to have you be the very first interview discussion that we do here. So before you leave us, is there anything you have going on in the future that you can talk about? Anything we can look out for from you?
I'm going to be doing I'm going to be working on the Alice Nightmare 5 costume with the Freddy face. And once I get myself going a little more, again, I'm going to be doing the waitress outfit. So I want to do both the young Alice and the old lady Alice. You know,
that's cool.
What I'm talking about. I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to wear the little gray wig and walk around.
Are you going to be going to any of the conventions with all the Nightmare people? I know that Lisa will be at Scarefest and Flashback. Are you planning on going to either one?
Scarefest.
You'll be at Scarefest.
Not Flashback. Yeah, I might show up at Flashback, but I highly doubt it. Things just happen last minute, so who knows? But I will definitely be going to Scarefest.
And finally, the last request I have of you is to say your favorite Alice line in your best Alice impression.
In my best Alice impression?
Yep.
I know exactly what you're up to.
Perfect.
I wish you could see me putting my finger. I was pointing my finger this whole time.
I bet you did. All right, Elm Street fans. So that was Taylor Burskey, the Alice cosplayer and absolute major Alice aficionado. So it was great to have her on, and we will catch you next time for another installment of Elm Street Radio. And in the meantime, whatever you do, don't fall asleep.